Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Londonderry View. Tonight, this is a special edition. We are celebrating all of the great candidates that are running for our town and school election coming up on March 12th. And right now we have with us our Maureen Hardy. She's running for the position of Supervisor of the Checklist. And Maureen, we thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Coming on tonight with us. And I'm going to take a little bit to tell us about, yourself and why you're running.
Thank you very much. I've actually been in Londonderry now for almost 4 years. The first time I came here, it was only 1 year.
Yeah. Wow.
And I've learned a lot. I went to Leadership Londonderry, and then this past year I was on Budget Committee. And there's a lot to absorb. I've learned a great deal. My background is I was a scientist, a microbiologist, epidemiologist, and I did pharmacovigilance compliance. But I'm retired now, and I'd like to give back to the community, and I'd like to participate. I have the time. I'm running for Supervisor of the Checklist because I really think that's a place where my skills can fit in. I've worked with data, I've worked with spreadsheets, I've worked with PDFs, Word, and I can pick up databases like that. So the ElectionNet, I'll be able to pick up and hit the ground running. I was able to get hold, I think you know this, I was able to get hold of a little over 1,000 names. Well, it was more than that, but I went to town hall and I went through the book. I didn't want to give any names that were already removed from the list, but I provided the names to the current supervisors of people that had moved out of town since 2018. And that was in August, and by December, all those names are off, and the checklist was cleaned up. And that is the job of the Supervisor of the Checklist, so I'd like to work collaboratively with Sherry and your team and the current supervisors and do our job and keep that checklist clean and have the best election integrity we can have here in Londonderry. And I want everyone to come out to vote now. March 12th is the election, and I just came off of Budget Committee, and I'm urging everybody. The Town Lantern has all the warrant articles for the town. Hopefully you can find the school warrant articles on the school site, but read all of them very carefully so you understand when you're in the booth what you're voting for, what you want, what you don't want, get the language straight. And everyone, please come vote. Your local elections are very important.
No,
So,
that's for sure. The most important, I think,
Yeah.
of all of them, really.
I
It's the
think
most
they
that
are.
hits you
Yeah.
directly.
right. So,
We have all those too at the, we made up packets for people if they want to come to the town hall. We have that packet set up so they can read through all the articles and warrants and everything and see what they're all about and bring it with them when they vote, so they'll have all that information.
yeah, that's great. That's a great idea, because something that I've done is I take a piece of, the sample ballot, and I'll read through it and then mark what I want to do in the booth, put it in my back pocket so that when I go in there, I'm ready. And
Because it's a
Yeah,
lot to
it's a
read.
lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot
it's
to
a lot.
remember.
That's actually a really
Yeah.
good idea,
Yeah.
Maureen.
That's
I
a
do
real
that,
good
yeah.
It's
idea.
so overwhelming when you finally get in the booth. I mean, at the primary, it was one ballot. And boom.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this one, you could be in there 15 minutes, really.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a lot, and
You don't want to go in there
know.
without reading
Yeah.
before you get
Oh,
there.
yeah,
You've got to do your
definitely.
Yeah.
research.
yeah.
Yeah, and ask questions. You can always call for clarification on something too.
Yes. Yes.
And but no, that's a very good point, because this is a long one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's a long one on the school side and the town side, so
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
get ready to take your time, relax,
Yes.
and do your
Yes.
voting.
Yeah.
So, do you have any questions for me? Because I can't think of anything.
Well, you have great experience being on the budget committee, and added a lot to that. And now, the next step in election integrity is, first and
Very- yeah,
foremost,
first and
truly,
foremost.
because I really believe New Hampshire leads the way, and and it's all the checks and balances along the way to make sure, you know, that our residents trust what we do too.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
and
such an
maybe you
important
could
part of it.
explain a little to the people what supervisor
Oh,
of the
yeah.
checklist
Oh, sure.
Actually
position
does.
That's a great
actually
idea.
is.
Okay, well, as the title says,
Yes.
the main job of supervisor of the checklist is to keep the list of voters, it's a list of all the voters in town, current, and to enter new voters in if they're eligible,
Mhm.
and remove voters that are no longer eligible from the list. So it's like a constant meet once a month, go through and make sure that the list reflects the true voters in town, and to help people to register to vote, and also to work at the elections. All day, supervisor of the checklist are at the elections.
Mhm.
They're working at the elections. It's a state law. You have to be there all day.
About 5 until probably
Oh,
9
yeah.
or 10 for
Yeah.
the supervisors, you know, for the rest of the crew longer, but it's a long day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's part of the job. And there's different ways to look at names that might be able to be removed. You could look at people who have passed away. You could look at people who have moved out of town, like look at the deeds. You can't just remove people. You have to send a 30-day notice. So if you see that a house has been sold, we could send a 30-day notice to all the people that lived in the house. Maybe someone's still in the house, we don't know. Maybe 3 of the 4 people moved out, 1 is still in. So we'll see what we get back, and we could remove the names that have moved out of town. I came here from Illinois, and when I moved out of Illinois, I contacted Illinois and I said I moved out.
Right.
And then they had a database. I think New Hampshire's trying to get a database.
That
So I-
connects through. Yeah,
that connects
you're right,
everything,
yeah.
so I could go online and make sure I was removed. But I don't think most people think to do that when they're moving at such a busy time. So sometimes other states will send information to the supervisors and tell them that someone's registered in their state. So there's a number of ways that we can look at the list every month and make sure that it's accurate and up to date.
And I think a lot of
Very
people
good.
don't realize that's what the supervisor of the checklist
Right.
does, because they come into our office at the town hall and they register to vote with us, and we'll take the forms, but we don't enter them. They think we're doing it all, but we're not. We're just literally bringing it over to the area where you guys are in that area. And then all the inputting is done, anything that comes in or out of that list is all done by the supervisors of the checklist.
And
It's
how
got nothing to
many,
do.
how many are there?
There's 3.
Okay.
Yep.
And it's
3
their 6-year
positions.
terms, and they're rotating. I think it's
Okay.
every 2 years is an election for
Yes, yeah.
supervisor.
It is 6 years,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, you get really, I guess, I hope to get really experienced with it. But yeah, and for data entry, I am really good at data entry. Like I said, I'm good
With
with
your
all the
experiences,
technology,
yeah.
all my
Very good.
experience. And I'm ready to hit the ground
To
running.
jump in.
Very good.
Yeah, and we have the Harvest System Help
Okay.
America Vote, which is all of the technical, and it's fascinating how everything is located there for us to pull on. But like as Deb described, we do one part of it, then the supervisors, which is so important.
Right.
That those areas don't cross,
Right.
because that's what keeps everything.
That's the checks and
transparent
balances.
and fair, and we can
Yeah.
question and look at each other, which is good,
Good.
and helpful, but,
Yep.
yeah, it's
Okay.
fascinating.
Now,
Oh my gosh, that
You
went
can
fast.
give us our last bit of
Last little bit.
information.
Okay, my name is Maureen Hardy, and I'm running for supervisor of the checklist, and I'd like you to please vote for me on March 12th. The polls open at 6 a.m. and they close at 8 p.m. Please come vote. You can find me on my Facebook page, Maureen Hardy for supervisor of the checklist. Ask me questions, I'd be happy to answer. I've already answered some questions there, but please, no matter what, please come out and vote on the 12th, March 12th. Thank you.
Thank you
Very
for
good.
being here.
Thank you. for